space, maybe learning a little bit, and then along comes another discipline, like architecture, for example, and you have to learn how to collaborate. You need to learn how to work together. So you guys move to the kind of the boundaries of your comfort zone, the borders of your disciplines, and you create a little language so that you can do a project together. And then maybe another discipline comes along, like computer science, and you guys actually fully need to leave your comfort zone. You need to go into the middle of this uncharted territory and build a little raft of understanding together to figure out how to work together and how to share ideas and be better and do projects. So our hypothesis was, how is it possible for people to not leave that raft, but rather kind of stay on the raft and continue to attract more and more people, expanding and enriching the set of things that they can do, the set of things that they can accomplish in the way that they do projects? Can you keep bringing new people together into a firm, and can you actually build a studio based on this model that can achieve different kinds of things that wouldn't be possible by a studio that just focuses on a single discipline? So what I want to do with you guys today is talk about multidisciplinary design, what it means to us, and I want to kind of give you a field report based on our current thinking and how we understand multidisciplinary design. So I want to do that by taking you through like three things. I want to talk a little bit about the scope of multidisciplinary design and what that means, because that phrase kind of gets bandied about a lot, and it's not always entirely clear what that actually encompasses. Then I want to make that scope precise for you guys by talking through three of our projects, which will serve as kind of case studies for how multidisciplinary design can behave and how it lets us think. And then I'll finish up with just a little bit of outlook on how this kind of thinking and how doing these kinds of projects have informed our perspective. So I say Workshop is a multidisciplinary design studio. I also sometimes say that Workshop is a full spectrum design studio. We've done a ton of projects over the years, something like 40 projects over the past 4 years or something like that. And we tend to place those projects on a literal spectrum that kind of ranges from digital to physical in terms of the kind of work that we do. And so materially, the kind of work that we do falls into a lot of different buckets, and people usually approach us wanting one of those particular buckets. So for example, we might do websites, like marketing sites, e-commerce platforms. We do brands, strategy, positioning, graphic collateral for brands. We build furniture, obviously tables, chairs, cabinets, things like that. Interior spaces, when you're taking furniture and arranging it and trying to figure out how it can best be used to activate a program in a space. So we do a lot of offices. We do what we call high performance spaces, which are spaces that need to do like one thing really well. And then we do structures like public art and installations outside too. So you know, in terms of the spectrum, a website kind of like maybe lands sort of over here on the digital end of the spectrum. A brand is kind of in the middle, maybe spanning digital, but maybe it also needs to be physically manifested in some ways. Furniture, you know, more spatial, but not rooted in the way that, say, an interior is or a structure would be. So you might believe that like bringing people together and like sharing perspectives and having this kind of utopian vision about people just informing each other and getting better together is a real thing. But I guess a question that we always consider is like, well, why? Why do so many things? Why not like take a multidisciplinary approach and just do websites or something like that? And we really do cover that entire spectrum that I showed. So what I want to do is unpack why we think that's important with you guys a little bit. And I want to do that by talking through three projects with you. So in 2013, we were approached by a very new nonprofit kind of digital media advocacy organization called Digital City. New organization, they wanted to do a lot of things really quickly. They wanted a logo, they wanted a website, they wanted a space. The space was going to be a co-working space that digital media professionals in Providence could work out of. So they kind of, in terms of the spectrum, they kind of approached us for three different buckets, right? They wanted some web stuff, they needed some sort of like drawing that represented them, and they needed a space. So we didn't really feel super expert in either of those or any of those particular buckets. So our approach to the project was to try and build as many bridges between those buckets as possible and try and strengthen the project that way. So we started by building the system of bits, which isn't really maybe a logo in a traditional sense, but it's this kind of identity system that can be cut up, mixed around, and represents all of the different kinds of programming and activities that they do. And it can be used in different ways in different spaces that they need to activate. So this is it, for example, on the door of the co-working space, and it manifests in other ways on different pieces of collateral. Similarly, we built all the furniture and arranged it inside of the space in the mercantile block building where they were. And the furniture is super low cost, just, again, sort of modular stuff, kind of like that bit system, things that can be arranged and can be reconfigured to support the different kinds of programming that they wanted to do. Just another shot. And then, of course, the bit system, the proportions of it work their way into like little details like the joinery and the furniture and stuff like that. The picture that you see there is just like a leg attachment through to the top of a table, and we wanted to pick up on just the relationship between the graphic thing and the structural thing. And we translated the bit system into an interactive system for the website. I don't have a video of it, but the bits kind of move around and shake when you scroll the website. So they came to us for these three things, and by trying to knit those things together in terms of bridges and being under one roof and being able to cohesively think and pivot and share ideas from those different domains, we were able to grow the spectrum from that initial subdivision to kind of a pretty full spectrum of approach to the project. And they asked us for three things, but by working together with them and by working to understand their goals, agnostic of the particular media that they wanted, we were able to discern what they really wanted, and our answer to their ask was, let's build a solid foundation for the organization that you're trying to build and make sure that you have the tools to grow and evolve into the future. A little bit of a different tack. We have got a long-standing relationship with the RISD graphic design department through a couple faculty members who work out of the co-working space that we work out of. John Caserta, who was the head of RISD graphic design in 2015, approached us with a very large-scale project that he was trying to execute. He wanted to take the kind of dingy subdivided offices in the RISD graphic design department at the time, blow out like all the walls in this big space that was subdivided after architecture was finished. So for example, they blew out all these walls in the space, and John was really averse to the idea of putting permanent seating or putting chairs in the space because he wanted this beautiful, open, kind of clean space. So what we did is we designed these custom benches which just fit into the windowsills there. And they can kind of get tucked away when they're not in use, but they can also be pulled out and configured in different ways to support the different kinds of activities that they want to do in there. At the same time, at the back of the office, there are actual sort of offices for the departmental coordinator and the department head. And we managed to work with the architect to leave a little bit of room in the budget and a little bit of space for some custom millwork. We were able to step in and build this like custom cabinet solution for the department coordinator. We were also able to add a door between the department coordinator space and the department head's office, something that during the architectural process was deemed unnecessary, but later turned out people wanted to be able to like close the door and have private conversations. So we were able to add one of those, which was cool. So, just by starting a conversation and, hearing different perspectives from different people who were working on the process, we were able to grow our involvement and our impact from just this littler kind of medial part of the spectrum to something quite a bit bigger and quite a bit more involved, going from stakeholder management and project management help to identifying real opportunities for the space and then making real impact and pushing the space beyond what just the architect was able to accomplish. So that was a super exciting one for us that kind of shored up the idea of multidisciplinary design. Finally, just one more to talk about. Just this past spring, we worked with the Downtown Providence Parks Conservancy to revitalize their 16-foot by 16-foot by 16-foot cube in Burnside Park called the Imagination Center. They use that to stage programming out of, so they have like a ton of stuff in there. And at the time, it was like not really organized in any way. It was just like, all right, we're done with programming. Let's like stash it all in the Imagination Center. We're super tired. We don't know where to put it, so let's put it in there. So they came to us asking for some sort of shelving system or something to just support the different items that they had. So we're kind of down on this end of the spectrum there. Here's a photo of the space when we first came to it. So as you can see, there's definitely a need for some kind of organization. And when you look at the space, you might notice another couple things as well. The space is not insulated, so they can really only use it during a few months of the year at the time. Space doesn't have any lighting, so they can only use it during heavy daylight hours. And it doesn't really have too many windows either, so really they did pretty limited opportunities for use in that configuration. So we were able to work with Jen Smith over at DPPC to get the space insulated, to add lighting to it, to add electrical to it, and that extended the like usable kind of day span that they could activate quite a bit and gave a lot more time back to the organization. At the same time, we also were able to work with them to identify the set of things that they currently had to help them kind of plan out a little bit of a roadmap for what future programming could look like, and then to take those things and incorporate them into the shelving system and give everything that they had that they were planning for kind of a proper home in the space. And actually, like this kind of homing process was effective enough that we were able to just add a few things that we didn't even anticipate being able to add to the space, like this kind of little workspace, which is not something that they had before. So that was a cool process of taking kind of a simple ask for a shelving system and really digging down into what the underlying causes for the need were, and then being able to identify kind of tactical opportunities for pivots and a higher performance space for them. So yeah, we were able to take shelving and turn it into kind of fairly on-brand, whimsical, super high performance space for them, which was really quite an exciting experience to be a part of. So, you know, hopefully those three projects give you a sense of what I mean when I say we're a multidisciplinary design studio. I think the outlook from here for us right now is that as a multidisciplinary designer, it's your job and your responsibility to always keep the full spectrum of effect in mind that you could operate in when you're doing a project. So when a client comes to you and says, hey, I need a website, I need like a thing, I need something that fits into one of these buckets, it's your job to listen, to think about other opportunities, to think about the root causes for that I need a website statement, and to grow it into something that maybe gets closer to that final answer that they're really looking for. Or when they come to you and ask for an interior, it's your job to think about why they want to spend money on an interior, or what kind of effects they're trying to create, and give them the thing that they actually want. So I think design in general, I'll just make a general statement, I think it spends a lot of time thinking about how do we hit the requirements, how do we make sure that we're doing the thing in the best possible way. And at least in our experience, multidisciplinary design and a multidisciplinary approach gives you the tools that you need to be able to ask, okay, we're hitting the functional requirements, we're doing the thing, but like what else could we do? What else could we do to reinforce that root cause that's getting them to actually trust us with their money in the first place? So I think we can use multidisciplinary design to shrink the gap quicker and more effectively, or to quicker and more effectively shrink the gap between that initial ask and the final answer that they're looking for. And we can do it by bringing people together and by building that kind of raft of understanding. Thanks. That's all I have to say.